Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today what we're in for is something majorly depressing. And now granted, I know my channel is not by any means a ray of sunshine, but even on my standards, this is absolutely fucking horrendous. But because of how horrendous it is, that is exactly why we need to talk about it. Rape chat groups with 70,000 members discussing how they have raped their sisters and mothers, offering their wives to be sexually abused, and sharing advice is uncovered. I think we can all agree that anyone who is in that chat, unless there was someone who was an FBI agent or the police, straight to prison, jail. I don't need to know more. I absolutely do not need to know more. Why are you there? I mean, you're there for obvious reasons. Why do you feel safe to be in that type of chat? I mean, why are you like that to begin with? But I think that's a question we don't have answers to. But what I think is consistently surprising is the absolutely mind-numbing stupidity of these people, which, as I've said in multiple videos at this point, I'm glad that they're this dumb because you're going to get caught. But at the same time, it's also like imagining how many people 70,000 people is. If I can find a picture of how many people 70,000 is, I'm going to put it somewhere just because that is so completely terrifying. And sometimes I think we need to see those images of they'll show you like 70,000 people in like a stadium or something to give you an idea of the absolute magnitude of a problem. An investigation has uncovered multiple rape chats where thousands of men discuss how to rape and sexually assault women, including their own mothers and sisters. The groups, which have up to 70,000 members from a variety of countries, meet on the encrypted messaging app Telegram to share pictures and even live videos of sexual abuse. Members have also claimed to have assaulted their wives and female family members, with some even sharing advice and instructions on how to do it. The sole concept of sharing those videos and those pictures with people is insane to me. First of all, because doing that to anyone, let alone your own family, is inconceivable. I genuinely in no world can understand that. But aside from that, the concept of even further degrading, further violating, further disgustingness, further perversity and depravity of not only doing this extremely fucked up thing that's going to traumatize these women for life, but on top of that, you're so okay with it that you want to violate them further by taking this horrible, horrific moment of their lives and you're going to send it to 70,000 strangers who are going to do God knows what watching that? Who could share it with, again, other strangers and other groups? I know I shouldn't expect anything from these people because, honestly, I've said it before, but rapists, much like pedophiles, are the very bottom of humanity, the very lowest low of humanity. So really, I shouldn't expect any decency at any point. But I was discussing this earlier. I just don't know how you switch off your humanity like that to do things like this. And on top of that, to share footage of you doing these absolutely fucking heinous things. Mind you, to your own family. To anyone, it's horrific. But if you can do it to your own family, that actually scares the living hell out of me in terms of what you're capable of. In one shocking instance, a German man said he would sedate his wife and allow other men to sexually assault her. The existence of the so-called rape chats were discovered over the course of a year-long investigation by German broadcaster ARD and its STRGF investigative team. According to the Daily Telegraph, the users also swapped tips on how to sedate partners and shared links to online shops where members could buy sedatives disguised as hair products. Over the course of the investigation, some of the groups have been shut down, but members were sent links to join new ones. The revelation comes on the final day of the Avignon mass rape trials in France, which has seen Dominique Pellicot, alongside 50 other men, handed jail sentences for drugging, raping, and abusing Pellicot's now ex-wife, Gisèle Pelicot. In case you guys don't know about Gisèle Pelicot, we're going to talk about her in a second, but I'm assuming that most people do because this has been in the news globally for a while now. The only positive thing I can say that will come of this, aside from these people outing themselves as complete monsters, is the fact also that hopefully they got that shop shut down. I hadn't ever heard of something like that. I assumed most people got their roofies, for lack of a better term, from dealers, but the fact that there are websites set up now that sell these sedatives disguised as hair products, that is so... my faith in humanity is so incredibly low. So incredibly low, I'd say that it's actually gone. And still, I see shit like this and I'm like, wow. I definitely love the internet, and this is probably a very boomer thing to say, but shit like this really does make me rethink the internet. It really does, because as much as the internet can be used for GoFundMes and supporting people in their creative endeavors or doing all these positive things, there are websites like this where I'm like, oh, this is also where we're at. Anyway, I hope that that shit got shut down, because that should be relatively easy to shut down a website like that. Not only that, but find whoever's running that website, because clearly they're up to some nefarious shit. Because honestly, it would be hard for me to believe that the person who's running a website that basically sells roofies disguised as hair products is up to general goodness in the rest of their lives. Like, part of me thinks if you have a website like that, you probably are using these sedatives yourself, in my opinion. But anyway, regardless, the person deserves prison anyway, or better, electric chair. The trial is France's worst ever sexual abuse case and has seen firefighters, soldiers, lorry drivers, and a DJ and journalist among these found guilty of raping 71-year-old Giselle at the behest of her husband Dominique over the course of a decade, all without her knowledge. Pellico, 72, who has now become known as the Monster of Avignon, was slapped with a 20-year prison term by Judge Roger Arata after he pleaded guilty to drugging her repeatedly for almost a decade, to rape her and to offer up her unconscious body for sex to dozens of strangers. Several abusers have escaped justice, with police unable to identify more than 20 men involved in Giselle's abuse. But Arata handed down guilty sentences to another 50 men besides Pellico, many of whom contacted Giselle's husband online and were invited to his home in the sleepy province village of Mazan to assault his unconscious wife on camera. The Giselle Pellico case is so utterly infuriating to me. I mean, she is the embodiment of resilience. I will say that. I mean, like, I don't even think that's the appropriate word. I feel like there needs to be a bigger word, but resilience, oh my God. What she went through and what she's doing now, just like being in the public eye and talking about it, that is, I can't even imagine the strength and the exhaustion that must come from that. Pellico's case is so utterly demoralizing in the sense of men were contacting her husband to use her unconscious body. I've heard about this case like a billion times, and every time I really sit and think about it, I still am speechless. I just don't even know how humanity got to such a point where these men didn't ever think of, let me date someone. Let me have some kind of normal relationship with someone. It immediately has to go to using someone's body without their consent. Anyway, I'm already going off. Let me just keep going here. In all, the court found 47 of the defendants guilty of rape, 2 guilty of attempted rape, and 2 guilty of sexual assault. The trial has shocked the world, but Giselle has been praised for making the courageous decision to waive her automatic anonymity so that the trial could be held in public. Giselle later emerged from the courtroom to the waiting cameras of the world's media, saying she was emotional as she issued a statement after she said she had been a very difficult test for me. I'm thinking first and foremost about my children, David, Caroline, and Florian. I am also thinking about my grandchildren. For them, I really wanted to take this struggle forward. I'm thinking about all the other families affected by the case and the not recognized victims in the shadow. I share their struggle. In a statement, Telegram told Mail Online, content that encourages sexual violence is explicitly forbidden by Telegram's terms of service. Telegram has a zero tolerance policy towards misuse of its platform, and any groups, channels, or users caught participating are immediately removed from the platform. Moderators empowered with AI and machine learning tools proactively monitor public parts of the platform and accept reports from users and organizations to remove millions of pieces of harmful content each day. Authorities or organizations aware of harmful groups are encouraged to report them via DSA channels within the EU or email hotlines elsewhere to aid in swift action. Additionally, valid court orders can be used to obtain IP addresses and phone numbers of violators. Now, as a general notion, I will say this. I am, for the most part, not in favor of AI at all, and I think you guys can understand where I'm coming from, even just from the perspective of an English major. People using AI to write papers. Some of my professors have told me about how many kids have been busted for it, and it's just kind of like, anyway, that's beside the point. I, for the most part, do not like AI. That being said, if there's one thing that AI could do to prove itself to me, because AI is struggling for my approval, obviously, but if there's one thing that AI could actually do that I would heavily, heavily approve of, is scan through like groups that are suspicious or whatever it is, and find whatever in that group is illegal media or rape content, whatever we want to call it. If AI could scan and find those pieces of evidence and then put all of that evidence in folders and tag it with names or phone numbers or information that identifies the people, totally for AI in that. If there's anything that I think AI could do, because for the most part, I don't think AI should be replacing humans' work, especially in the arts. But since this is so much to sift through, and there typically are underfunded programs that are supposed to be helping with things like this, or the police is underfunded or understaffed, if there's anything AI can do to help with that, totally on board. That being said, Telegram, this is not the first time that Telegram has been involved in some shady shit. And granted, they're a messaging platform, so I don't really think that they can necessarily control everything that happens on their platform, much like any other platform can't really control things. That being said, I really do think Telegram has to step up its game, because it's been in controversy more than once, because I have a vague memory of other things happening in the past. So I do think that this is a long-standing problem. All of this is absolutely heinous. I do hope that the people in these groups are found and identified, ideally also publicly shamed, and obviously publicly paying the consequences with some good old prison time. Honestly, the existence of groups like this scares the shit out of me, because I think as much as we know that these predators are out there and these people are out there, we tend to think of them in a particular way, right? Like, you'll see a guy and maybe he looks creepy and you're like, oh, yeah. But a lot of these people, I'm sure, if we saw them, would look like totally average Joes. And the fact that these random ass average Joes who have this sociopathic tendency, I suppose, are in groups like this, it really does make you feel like everyone is a fucking creepy piece of shit lunatic like these people. Now, granted, that's not actually the case, but when I read about cases like this, it does feel like there's an overwhelming majority of just horrendous people out there who are waiting to commit horrific crimes against the people they supposedly love. Anyway, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know if you'd already heard about Giselle Pelicot. I'm assuming most of you have, because like I said, this was world news. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.